Hi everyone, welcome back. It's LC at the Super World Aviation Festival, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Emily Weiss, Global Travel Industry Lead, and Tyson Wipperling, Managing Director, both from Accenture Travel. It's a pleasure to have you both with us today. In terms of talking about Gen AI, what is your view on the whole thing, Emily, and how do you think we can move from beyond a handful of pilots to real scale implementation in aviation within the next year?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a very interesting because in the travel industry, we have seen that there is a tremendous amount of experimentation with pilots, with POCs, but very, very little scale at the moment. We recently did a survey with over 370 airline executives and 200 plus consumer goods and retail executives that showed that the results said 100% of consumer goods and retail executives believe that AI is central to their strategy, whereas only 47% of airline executives believe it's central to their strategy. So it's quite telling. But to be able to move from pilot POC into really more at scale is, we believe strongly that there needs to be commitment and focus at the very, very top and make it central to one strategy to be able to say, this is a, not necessarily mandate, but this is a commitment and a focus as an executive team for our airline. And therefore we will be able to pick the use cases that we want to focus on and really scale versus spend a lot of time just on experimentation.
So picking up on that thought about use cases, Tyson, from your perspective, if you had to pick one sort of growth-focused use case to scale for aviation, which would it be and why?
Yeah, no, great question. And as we've seen with all the experimentation going on, most of it's actually been focused on efficiency, operations, automation, but the growth side we really see with some of the new offer order and modern retailing capabilities, the ability to create new packages, new products, new prices. Now you have a lot more intersection and power around signal interpretation as well. So we think that that's probably the biggest area that especially airlines can become much more relevant to their consumers going forward.
So when it comes to implementing these use cases in a real world environment, how can we ensure quality control, maintain necessary guardrails, but also keep that power of innovation and experimentation at the same time?
No, great question. And as Emily mentioned, it really has to be a top-down senior level mandate and priority for the organization. I think it's important for organizations to understand their maturity because there's going to be a balance between speed of execution. Things are changing so fast. You need to be able to understand what's coming and how that actually can benefit your business. But you have to do it in a responsible way that follows not just local government or European government restrictions, but as you look globally, you have to be able to explain to your investors and also the customer how you're using their data in a responsible way. So it's really the balance of those two things and really a dedicated part of the organization that's focused on maturity and enablement while still creating speed is what we think is ultimately most important.
So obviously we talked a bit about the customer there, but Emily, in terms of the workforce, how can businesses in aviation get their employees ready for AI readiness and make sure they're well equipped to use these tools and help the customers and work?
Yeah, well, so again, I'll just go back to the survey for one moment, but we saw a very interesting statistic that said within airlines, only 1 in 5 airline employees consider themselves AI ready. And so there's a real need to focus on upskilling, cultural readiness. So upskilling is more around the talent and the skills for the workforce, and then cultural readiness is much more around making sure that there is that concept around adoption, around enablement, as Tyson mentioned, and really just the organization has the DNA that says AI is important. And given that, you really will have much more AI literate employees that we think will make a tremendous impact and value for the organization.
Do you think again that's something that's going to come from the top?
I think it has to come from the top, but it has to proliferate throughout the organization. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest issue is you could have and I'm always reluctant to use the word mandate, but you just have to have the commitment and the focus and the buy-in and the leadership from the top, but it has to proliferate throughout the entire organization. And your employees have to want to become AI literate.
Yeah.
So
maybe just one other point on that too. I think the mandate or the structure has to come from the top, but the ideas and the business value is actually going to come bottom up.
Yeah.
Because it's those day-to-day problems and it's those use cases that you really want to solve that help not only create opportunity for efficiency, but also improve the customer experience, revenue growth, profitability, et cetera. That's really where we see kind of the core use cases coming from.
Yeah, well, it's been great talking points with you both there. Lots of food for thought. So thanks so much for joining me and
for having us.
Sharing your insights.
Thank you.